Now that that's out of the way, let's see what we got here. Her assistant. The synopsis goes, you've been Miss Harshwhinny's assistant since you first joined the company, learning her teachings and traveling around Equestria together. That was years ago. Now, with her being in charge of the company, you still have a job to do. I wonder if I've read something like that. I can't remember. I went through several Harshwhinny fanfics. They all wind up with her sex. Sometimes it's good.
Yeah, sometimes it's good, but it says this is teen, so it maybe it would be implied.
Who knows? Why don't we get on with it? Let's go on and read Lil Sane's Her Assistant. Let's see who all's in here and who's going to enjoy this. It's probably going to be up on YouTube anyways. That sounds a bit risque. Well, we dealt with risque more often from me than Inverted Shadow. Anyways, on to the show. With a quick yawn and rubbing the rest of the sleep out of your eyes, getting on board the train. Okay, that was kind of a weird sentence. Sorry. I guess it's supposed to go, with a quick yawn and rubbing the rest of the sleep out of your eyes, you get on board the train. It was pretty early in the morning, but you needed to catch the earliest scheduled train to be able to make it back in time with a report. You've been working as a personal assistant, or in this case an inspector, for about 3 years now. In all honesty, you're overqualified to be an official one by now, but the pay isn't that much higher than you make at the moment. Plus, you enjoy what you do now. Rarely do you ever go to these inspections alone, but every now and then the director is too busy with reports or reevaluating some contract. Either way, she's been too busy lately with all the requests for companies who wish to partake as an investor or take the vendor spot for this year's Equestria Games. Finding a good window seat, you plop your rump down onto the seat with your bag on the seat next to yours. You give out a sigh of relief, feeling yourself beginning to relax. It's been a long weekend for you. You had to make some warehouse inspections down in Hollow Shades to make sure that they were up to date on safety protocols. A safe work environment for both employees and customers. Most of the warehouses passed the inspection. No problem. Well, except one, though, but that's another matter.
Yeah.
Opening your bag, you take out a folder along with your red pen, which you place in your mouth. Opening a folder, you flip through the pages until you reach the inspection forms for the Filthy Riches Shade Y bargains. I read it shady because it said Shade Y, because, you know. You honestly think that is one of the dumbest names for a warehouse, even though he's trying to be clever with his destination. Going down the list, you made sure everything is correct. Closing your eyes, pictures begin to pop up in your head. You begin to mentally sort out each and every picture, inspecting them closely to see if you missed anything the first time around. You seen the hole you already checked as hazardous, fuse wires, some mold in a few spots, along with many other hazardous objects. How can some pony run a business like this, you say? Never liking how higher company types always seem to cut a few corners and make an unsafe environment for workers and customers alike was one of the reasons why you took up this profession. It always makes you sad when they don't care about their employees getting harmed because they want to save a few bits. Either way, it didn't matter in the long run. The inspection company you worked for was very strict and thorough, and because it was the biggest in Equestria, they would always be called in when needed, which happens very often. After triple checking through your mental photos, making sure you didn't miss anything, you placed the folder back into the bag and zipped it closed. Keeping the bin in your mouth, though, you really need something in your mouth. Not what you meant, you perverts. I don't know why they put that in there, but
I don't know.
You've always enjoyed having a smoke after working. It relaxes you from all the stress and tension that would build up in your body after some manager would yell at you, or try to bribe you to look the other way on some issues only to fail. Both your parents and your boss never liked you smoking, but at least the boss understood the need to have an outlet like this, especially with the kind of job dealing with greedy bastards. But you never did smoke when others were around or in places where you knew you shouldn't. Common decency was one of the things you learned growing up. That and common sense. Especially after dealing with dumb threats from this manager at the warehouse, where he found all about the missed details they seemed to have, again, missed. You've dealt with ponies like him before, though, when bribing never really worked, when they always loved to make it seem like you're the one to blame. So the alternative was lightly chewing on the end of your pen while you looked out the window. You didn't know when, but your train already departed the station, heading back to Canterlot, city of the head business, and what you call home. Not one of the best choices when it comes to ponies, but it is basically the center of Equestria, so it's easier to dispatch and head out to any destination if necessary. You looked at the watch. You still have a good half a day before you make it back, so deciding that it would be best to get some rest before you reach there and head straight to work. Crossing your arms, resting your head against the window, you allow the heaviness in your eyes to droop down until everything becomes black. Later. Wait, are you still there, by the way?
Yeah, I'm still here.
At least tell me.
You want me to pick up from this?
No. I was just wondering if you're alive.
Nah, I'm listening.
Fair enough. You're riding shotgun anyways. Just let me know at least every once in a while that you're alive.
Oh, right. I just didn't want to interrupt.
Fair enough. Every company inspection except for this one passed with little to no issues, ma'am, you say, placing the folder on her desk with the rejected one on the bottom. I've already informed them about the issues along with giving them a copy of what could be improved and needed to be fixed. Looking at the files one by one, she stops when she reaches the last page just saved her the one that didn't pass the inspection. She goes through the details written on the form and begins to jot down little notes, mostly from when she has to call Filthy Richard himself and inform him about the details of the warehouse. Very good, Fixer. You have always hated that name, and she knew about it. Don't call me Fixer, ma'am. Well then, Fixer. Well then, I would greatly appreciate it if you would not call me ma'am, she says, giving a victorious smug look on her face while she glances at your direction. That kind of sounds weird.
Then what should we call you then, Master? No, wait.
Giving a sigh, you nod your head. You always called her that since you started working as her assistant, so it was in a way a force of habit now. And then you reluctantly say, yes, Miss Harshwhinny. With a full smile, she returns with the last of her notes and places it next to the phone, making sure she wouldn't forget the call before the end of the day. You and her go back to where you first started. Oh wait, hang on. Did I screw up with the scrolling? Because sometimes my mouse wheel is acting up. Okay, we're good. You and her go back to when you first started. She was your mentor before she became president at this company. She taught you everything you would need to know when doing inspections, along with how to travel, from packing lightly along to finding cheap places to stay for the night. Which was embarrassing considering you two had to share the bed to save some bits on overnight inspections. She was very grabby in her sleep and would almost squeeze the living breath out of you. You wonder how you ever survived her grip those nights. Didn't help you when you have to use all your willpower so a certain guest wouldn't arrive. She was a very hot-looking mare, even she was twice your age, and yet still attractive. Shaking the blush off your face from the memories, you look over to see a stack of papers about the size of a foal at the edge of her desk. Those request forms to set up vendors at the games? She sighs and nods, laying her head down on the desk. I'm about halfway done with the investor forms, and they all need to be done tomorrow, so I'll be putting another all-nighter. You hissed at her as you reached and grabbed a stack of vendor forms from her desk. She looks at you in surprise, but smiles, giving you her thanks. What would I do without you? She questions you, giving a sincere smile. Probably be living in your office, you grin back at her, but I'm sure any pony else you might have trained would have been like me. No, you're one of a kind, she says. I've had many assistants before you, and they would either request a transfer or quit. None of them couldn't handle my training. Kinda glad you came along. That lesson sounded different. Somehow sensual.
I almost read that as sexual, but that's just me.
That's you. Probably. Your eyes go wide, and you blush looking away, not wanting to read anything into it. You noticed the picture she took with the both of you on her desk before you head out of her office for her to make a phone call and hopefully take a break. You've had an exact copy in the notebook you carry around when you travel. It was after a beach house inspection. You convinced her that the two of you should go to the beach since the inspection finished early. She enjoyed herself, wanted a picture, one of her arms putting you in a headlock to keep you in place while the other held the camera. Passing by some co-workers, you waved back to the few that waved. Most of the co-workers were friendly, nice, but there was always the few that would hate the others for one reason or another, in case they felt like you rose through the company quickly by using Miss Harshwhinny's success. In a way, they were probably right. She was a good teacher, harsh but good, and she always kept you as her personal assistant. Even when offered more experienced workers, she kept you. You've always made sure to work hard and improved yourself, so you wouldn't drag her down, or her reputation.
Gotta keep up that professionalism.
True. Hang on, there we go. Reaching to your office, you sit down, placing the forms on one side of the desk. Pulling out 2 trays, you begin going through the requests. Placing the ones that seem inappropriate into the rejection tray, while putting ones that could be good vendor for the games in another. As a possibility. While sorting through them, some of the names you remember, from inspection or just simply knowing them. You wondered if the Apple family request is from Ponyville, or if it's one of the other families across Equestria. Looking at the signature on the bottom, you give a confident smirk, knowing just whose handwriting it belongs to. Applejack. And another from Sugar Cube Corner, which you knew for sure was from Ponyville. Considering there were small balloons all over the form, it had to belong to Pinky. You would love to see some of your friends down there again. It has been some time since you were back in your hometown. If anything, maybe you could have them combine their request, so they would have a higher chance of being accepted. You write down a little note on both of the forms before throwing them in the right tray. After going through the papers and triplicate, you decided on 30 possible vendors for the events. The event games didn't need that many, but you would like for Miss Harshwhinny to have some options before making final choices. Speaking of, you nearly jumped and have a heart attack when you heard loud shouting. It could be heard throughout the floor, making many others jump in surprise as well. Peeking out of your office, you found the source coming from her office. Looking back, you see every pony else shaking in few, all looking your way, wanting you to check on her.
I guess you just walked into the office then.
You sigh before you head closer to the source of the shouting, with the trays in your hands. When you reach your door, you look back at your co-workers, who are now saluting you, as if you're about to go on a mission and never return. They do that every time. Which is what it felt like every time you've seen her at her worst and angriest, and to you, it's pretty terrifying. Slowly reaching for the knob, you turn slowly as you open the door carefully. When you peek inside, she is slamming the phone down, cursing like there's no tomorrow. Must have been really bad.
Why'd you call her?
That was not it. If you remember earlier, she had to make a call to Filthy Rich because Filthy failed inspection.
Oh. Mmm.
That was probably it.
Oh. That makes sense.
No,
I'm just messing around.
okay. Knocking a few times to inform her of your presence, you slip inside and shut the door behind you. She doesn't even bother lifting her head up, only mumbles into the desk in frustration. The call with Mr. Rich that bad? She shakes her head no before rolling it to the side, with her cheek resting against the desk. The call was fine. He's furious to find out that the manager up there hasn't been up to date with the safety issues. And apparently it wasn't the first time either. He was warned many times before that. Actually, it was the call from said manager. Raising an eyebrow, giving her a questioned look, you set down the trays next to her before walking behind her chair. She removes her face from the desk and leans back against the chair, softly cooing as she feels your hands on her shoulders. You begin to gently massage them. It wasn't the first time you did this to calm her down. She was reluctant at first but gave in after feeling how your hands worked. You were glad you learned this back when you could do this with Applejack after she had a hard day at the farm. The manager was furious for being let go. Apparently he blamed you. He called demanding a re-inspection to have you fired. Continuing on, massaging her shoulders, you pressed your thumbs on the back of her neck and gently rotated them in small circular motions. She slowly relaxes against your grip. You had to learn a few tricks to calm her down these past years, because every pony else relies on you when those times appear anyway. You were fine with it, but you were afraid of the day when these techniques wouldn't work anymore. No pony wouldn't be able to stop her wrath. An image of her, with blood on her hands, laughing maniacally on top of her enemies. Even the rulers of Equestria would be beaten under her. Those images pop in your head, leaving you slightly horrified, even though it could be an actual possibility.
In Gonzo's nightmares every night.
Don't fucking remind me. I tried. I really tried to be calm and explain him the reasons. But when he began threatening about burning your place down along with you trapped in it, I lost it. You felt the stress return in her shoulders again. Guess his threats from when you were there changed from making sure you would never work again to being slowly killed. Guess you technically work if you were dead, so maybe it would be still the same threat. It goes to show how some ponies think about others. You shrug it off, telling her it most likely won't happen. It probably was just the heat of the moment. She already knows that this happens every now and then, when someone isn't happy with her evaluations. She's silent, though. You can tell she's worried. Attempting to change the subject... There we go. Attempting to change the subject, you stop massaging her shoulders and walk around the desk and show her the request forms, pointing out the tray that holds the ones will be perfect, while the other hold if rejected, with a note on each request on why you think they wouldn't be appropriate. It seems to do the job as she looks through them, her face returning her professional look, the one you know and would love to look at. Under an hour later, she made her choices, deciding to see if the Apple family and Sugar Cube Corner would do a joint vendor, which is great for you. Now you only need to go to one vendor to eat all their delicious desserts. Oh, and to talk to them, of course. With the workday now coming to an end, everybody began packing and head their separate ways. You and Miss Harshwhinny are usually the last to leave to make sure everything is in order. Once everything is checked, you both begin to head down and out the front door, waving your goodbyes to the night shift security. Usually you two would talk about your plans for the rest of the night during the walks home since you both go in the same direction. Once hitting the street to go your separate ways, she'll surprise you by giving you a hug, good night, and telling you to stay safe. You blush but wrap your arms around her, returning the hug. She must be worried about that threat from earlier. You tell her everything will be fine. You will watch out anyways for her sake. She slowly nuzzles your cheek and whispers a thank you into your ear before letting go and walking away. It caught you by surprise, to be honest. She'd never been this affectionate before. Maybe you never need to be threatened more often. Rubbing the spot she nuzzles you begin to walk in the path leading to your place. I need a drink. I need a drink, man.
You wanna take a break?
Give me a minute, I'll be right back.
Okay.
What?
Say what?
Thought I heard something.
No. Just talking to the lovely people in the stream.
There we go. Now to continue. It was nice to have a relaxing hot shower when you made it back to your apartment. A long shower, you might add. Your place wasn't really big, but it was your home. Just a one-room apartment. But if it's your needs, you wouldn't want it any other way. What was also nice was that it was well insulated during these cold nights. You enjoy being nude or just in your boxers most of the time when alone. Finally drying yourself off, maid and all, you throw the damn towel off to the side to wash along with all your other dirty clothes. Almost time to wash all your clothes, come to think of it. But you always hated washing them. If you could, you would rather just throw away the dirty clothes, keep buying clean ones. That's how much you hated it. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Saving it for another day, though, you put on some boxers and headed out to the balcony. Oop, I almost got out a little too far. Feeling the cool air against your fur, you go for your pack of smokes that you leave out there. You never smoked inside, then want the smell to linger in case you ever had guessed. Lighting one, you lean on the edge while you look out in the distance. The nightlife of Carolina is always nice, seeing how lively it is with its clubs and night shops. All the lights from every shop and club would always sync beautifully together and create a nice image for you to keep in your head. This is what you loved about living here.
Seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
A good view, too.
You wonder if Octavia's performing at the concert hall tonight, or maybe her roommate Vinyl playing in one of the clubs. You miss talking to her. Even though she could be uptight at times, she knew how to let loose. It must be because of her roommate. He always teased her about having a crush on Vinyl. She would normally respond by putting you in a headlock until you took back what you said. You decided to make a bet with her, and told her that at the end, the two of them would hook up. She accepted, saying it would never happen. Oh, the memories. Calls problem. Who else got a problem? Oh shit. Wait a tick. Come on. Maybe if I disconnect and call him up again. Or if I can lock up. Yeah, that too, I suppose. There! Damn!
Yeah, sorry about that.
That was my end. Fucking thing likes to...
I think it was my end.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, continue.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit. I'm probably gonna have to cut this part out. Finally finishing your smoke, you put it out in the ashtray and head it back inside. You plop yourself on your bed, allowing yourself to sink deeper into the mattress, feeling relaxed. Thinking back, it had been a busy week. Traveling around is always relaxing, but the bunnies and griffins you have to deal with can be so stressful most of the time. You wonder why they just don't fix the issues bring up with them, rather than trying to bribe you and shit. In the end, they would be paying more through bribes than repairs. Now that you consider it, you never had to deal with these kinds of stresses while dealing with dragons. Must be a code of honor kind of thing.
Thought that was only a Spike thing. But apparently dragons have it, I don't know.
Although dragons never tend to bribe you and will always take what you're saying during the inspection just to heart, you did find out that some dragons are very flirtatious. You never understood why some would hit on you. You knew that they would attract the ones that are held high in society, but you never considered yourself one of those. You might be the assistant to someone powerful, but you never took advantage of it. Whatever they saw in you, you probably couldn't see it yourself. Your doubts begin to slowly drift as you feel... Oh, come on. Your thoughts begin to slowly drift away as you feel your eyes become heavy. Closing them allowed yourself to fall into slumber.
Much later.
Quite. It's actually been a week now. No sign of Filthy Rich's ex-manager. You feel like you're in the clear for now, even though you didn't have to worry too much about it. If it's come with the job, there will always be someone or some pony who will always be unhappy with your inspections. The week has been pretty busy for you to even stay in Kenderlaw for this week. Ms. Harshwhinny made her final decisions with which companies she would choose for the games. She had to stay in Kenderlaw for when the investors would arrive, so it was your job to travel and inform the ones that would be a vendor for the games, leaving them with the proper paperwork on what they will need for when the time arrives. It could be easier done through telephone and mail, but you were taught by her that it was more important to keep appearance for the company. Plus, this would mean they have no excuses about not getting the message or receiving the papers in the mail. You were already informed of most of the companies that would be participating. You only had one more destination left, and that was Ponyville, in which you decided would be your last stop before heading back to Canterlot. You wanted to spend what was left of your time in your hometown to visit your parents and friends. When you arrived in Ponyville, you were greeted by Pinky, who used what she called her Pinky senses. You never questioned it. Any pony who grew up in Ponyville when she arrived knows not to even question it. It was probably because she brought along Applejack, so you were able to talk to both of them about the vendor position, in which they happily accepted. The three of you casually chatted, catching up on old times. They were probably your closest friends here. You were never really friends with other elements of Harmony. After it became a little dusk, you decided it was best to head out. Given them the proper forms in your card so they can keep in touch, you head to your parents' home. You wanted to catch up more with Applejack, but you probably made your parents wait long enough. Well, you would have if they knew you were coming. When you arrived, your mother was surprised, giving you a tight hug, but also slapped you for having such bad timing. You were lucky that you were toughened up under her, or they would have packed a wallop. Your father and mother were just about to head for an important dinner meeting with one of their clients. You told them we'll be back in town for a few days. so you would talk to them tomorrow. They pressured you to stay at their place until you had to go back, giving you your old room. Still looked the same day as the day you left. You're honestly touched that they haven't boxed out your stuff and turned it into a guest room or something.
It's just a small race car bed. That's what I imagine.
Let's just try something more mature than that. Don't worry.
Bunk beds. You had a little brother.
Moving along. Looking around the room, you see bits and pieces of memory returning with each object you see. Most of them happy, some are sad. The ones that conflict your feelings the most was picture with Applejack and you after a big harvest, with one of her arms putting you in a headlock. Seriously, what's it with bears and these headlocks?
Yeah, there's a lot of headlocking. I mean, if there were any other wrestling moves, we would need Mofetta in here.
Tell me about it. Applejack? Oh, fuck!
Oh, hello, there you
Shit! He came here at the worst time.
Hey, Mofetta. Oh, I guess it's not him. It says Mofetta. It says Mofetta, fanboy of mystery.
That E goes by several names.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it is him.
So he was listening and drawing. So he was a silent fuck, huh? Damn it. Anyways, Applejack was your childhood friend. You both grew up and went through a lot together. Both good and bad. But you both were always there for one another. When high school came around, you both were in love. Happy for being the best of childhood friends to high school lovers. Sadly, though, it ended at the senior year. Had a long talk about the future and what you both wanted. She wanted to stay in Ponyville for her farm and family, and you wanted to travel, learn how to make Equestria a safer place for all races. After you left for a low-paying assistance position, you sent her letters. She wrote back. You were both able to repair what felt like a broken relationship, or friendship. You two may not have been together to help each other out anymore, but you two made sure to call and write. A long-distance relationship could have worked, but it was all in the past. She was definitely a lot taller now. She probably has a good half hoof on you now. Looks a lot stronger, too, probably due to the farm life. You smiled at the picture, and then you remembered something. Rustling through your bag, you pulled out another picture you always keep. The one of you and Miss Harshwhinny when you first started working as her assistant. You decided to put it in a frame instead of keeping it in your notebook. It'd probably be safer in one anyway. Placing the picture next to the one with Applejack, you smile. So similar. Smiles, how happy they looked, and even a headlock. Thinking about your past love and your unrequited one makes you feel at peace, like nothing could go wrong.
Later in Applejack's farm, maybe?
I don't know, but let's see. It's hot. Too hot. You wake up quickly, sweating madly. You don't know why, but you feel something is wrong. Very wrong. Noticing an orange glow right outside your door, you quickly realize why it's so hot. The house is on fire.
Whoa. That just came out of
You
nowhere.
begin to panic as you grab your bag on instinct, headed for the door. Stopping before you grab the knob, you remember bits of information of never grabbing metal doorknobs on a fire. You can feel just how hot it is, and you're not even directly touching it. You quickly pull and wrap one of your spare shirts from your bag around your hand. Placing it on the door, you can still feel the burning sensation, but it's bearable. Opening the door, you are blinded with the flames that destroyed the place you grew up in. Shit! It's at his home!
Wow. Just...
The air above was filled with smoke as you can hear the roof cracking and giving way. The burning sensation is so strong you can feel parts of your fur being singed off. Wrapping this spare shirt around your mouth in hopes to lessen the chance of breathing in too much smoke, you begin to try to move your way to the front door. Slowly heading down the stairs, you can see parts of the walls and roof falling all around you. Everything that made this your parents' home is now being engulfed by the flames. You pray that it's still early in the night for your parents to have come back from their dinner meeting. Finally reaching the bottom, you quickly bolt for the door, but you stop yourself. Your hand just above the doorknob, and you can feel your heartbeat go faster and faster by the second. You check it back frantically in hopes that they're there. They're not! He didn't grab the pictures!
Oh shit!
You knew it was stupid, but your brain wasn't thinking, or you couldn't hear it screaming at you. Without care, you quickly rushed the stairs and back to your room, now engulfed in fire. Luckily, the flames haven't consumed the 2 pictures. Grabbing them and shoving them in the bag, you rush for the door, only to have the roof come crashing down and blocking the path out of your room. Cursing yourself, you quickly rush for the window, but luck isn't on your side, as another part of the room comes falling down right above you. You feel yourself forced on the ground and pinned down. Coughing and gasping for air, you force yourself to push the burning wood off of you. Everything hurts. You didn't think it was the way you were going to die. You always assumed a mirror would headlock you to death. Sorry.
More headlocks. More headlocks.
Because fucking Applejack and Harshwhinny. Anyways, let's see. Finally freeing your body from the lumber, you're about to move, only to be stopped in place and feeling a painful tug at your lower back. Your fears are confirmed when you see your tail trapped in between some rubble close to the base. You frantically pull as hard as you can, but your tail won't come free. You really begin to believe you're going to die. You inhale too much smoke and everything is blurry. As your hope begins to fade, you hear a voice angrily shouting at you. A familiar, harsh voice. Her voice. With one last-ditch effort and all your might, you chuck the bag out of the window. The bag flies through it, shattering most of the window, some of the glass piece falling close to you. You desperately reach out to grab one of the larger pieces. Finally obtaining one, you put part of your arm in your mouth and close your eyes, knowing this would be a stupid idea. Using as much strength as you can muster, you bring the broken glass piece down to the base of your tail, cutting right through it. You bite down on your arm, hard and hope that you didn't swallow your own tongue from how painful it is. With yourself free, you drag yourself to the window. You couldn't breathe due to the smoke. Your arm and the base of your tail were bleeding, and you have no strength left. You press yourself against the shattered window, feeling some of the pieces press into your stomach as you let gravity take over and pull the rest of your body out the window.
So he just cut off like his entire tail?
From the way it seems.
Jeez.
You feel how fast the ground is coming before closing your eyes. You've done all you can.
I didn't. I'm just surprised that he didn't like completely pass out from systemic shock, trying to cut off his entire tail, like from the base and all.
Oh well. It'll grow back. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Rhythmic beeps fill your ears. Open your eyes slowly. You find just how heavy they feel. The room is dark. You assume it's nighttime. You move your eyes slowly around the room, seeing many machines, a heart monitor, and one of those oxygen reading machines among them. The oxygen mask must have been used recently, since it looked like it's plugged in, but isn't being used. Looking down your body, you can tell that it's mostly wrapped, needles and patches pressed against you. You don't even want to know what that attachment you feel on your nether region is. The sound of light snoring interrupts your thoughts. Looking to the side, you see a familiar silhouette laying on the bed. One of her hands is gripping yours. You smile and grip her hand back, feeling warm. You close your eyes again and decide it's best not to wake her. She rarely sleeps as it is, and no matter how much she's already had, she probably needed more. It feels nice to hold her hand like this. You tend to go back to sleep. Until you feel something moving. Your eyes shoot open as you feel a pair of lips pressed against yours. She's staring into yours, as if any second a dam is about to break and release her tears. You can feel her grip growing tighter on your hand, as if she letting you go. As if she were to let you go, you would disappear. You're too shocked to respond as you feel your heart's pace quicken, making the heart monitor beat faster as a result.
She's just doing mouth to mouth resuscitation. She's got to keep the professionalism.
Finally releasing the kiss, you can tell that her whole body is trembling, not blinking once as she continues to look at you. Please be real, don't let this be another dream, only speaking in a whisper as she lets out a small stream of tears flowing from her eyes.
You should hope that the fire was the dream, not whatever.
You've never seen her this scared. She was always strong and brave, never letting anything get to her. Ma'am, responding to her by attempting to grip her hand tighter, you hope that it will give her the answer she seeks. It does, as she leans back into you, wrapping her other hand around you, giving you a hug. You will return the hug, but you don't really have the strength to. Thankfully, she isn't pressing against any of the needles. You're pretty sure it would hurt as hell. It would hurt like hell as she did. You both take comfort in the hug and let yourself stay like this for quite some time. Don't call me that, jerk.
The next morning?
Yep.
Okay, so to sum that up, his house caught on fire.
Hopefully not from that one guy.
Oh, you don't think his house caught on fire because of Filthy Rich?
No. Filthy Rich was fine. It was the ex-manager at one of Filthy Rich's warehouses from earlier.
Oh, is it Le Capitan?
Only one way to find out. The morning finally arrives. One of the doctors comes in to check on you, seeing your boss sleeping against your chest, with your hand wrapped around her. After the examination and tests, you were confirmed to be okay. You still had to stay for them, to keep an eye on you, and for physical therapy, but you didn't mind much. They were able to heal the base of your tail, which barely showed any indication of actual tail returning. You still have many burn marks along with some scars on your stomach from the glass. Through magic, the fur will grow back very slowly, but it will take some time. The same with your tail. You were told that you were out for 3 weeks, and after the first week of being at Ponyville Hospital, Miss Harshwhinny demanded you to be transferred to the elite Canterlot Hospital. Honestly, you were surprised she would do that, since she always hated how much they overcharge. But the doctors were of the best there, and she wanted the best for you. She informed you that Applejack was the one that saved you. Apparently she was heading over to your house at the time to ask you some questions about how to fill out the form when she saw that the house was on fire. She was about to run in but saw the bag going through the glass, and then a few seconds later seeing you fall out as well. She caught you before you plummeted headfirst into the ground and quickly rushed you to the hospital. Witnesses said that they saw a suspicious stallion running away from the scene to only return several hours later in a panicked state after escaping from the ever-free forest. Apparently he ran into one of the creatures of the forest and barely escaped with his own life. He was arrested and confessed that he was stalking you, waiting for the perfect moment to extract his revenge. So it was that fucker.
Oh.
He was a patient fucker, wasn't he? Excuse me. Your mother apparently passed out when she first saw you after she barged into the surgery room when they were removing the glass that was stuck in your stomach. Your father nearly beaten the stallion that did this to you to death. The police turned a blind eye while this was happening. They knew your father, and you'll cover for him.
Has anyone here played The Last of Us?
What happens there?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like in the middle of the game, but Joel, the main guy, like falls down like a couple stories, and then he gets like stabbed like through the stomach with like rhubarb. And
Uh-huh.
it's yeah.
I don't know how this got related, but then again,
It the glass in the stomach, that's what it reminded me.
oh. When they got the call from the hospital to inform them about you waking up, they took the first train to Canterlot to visit you. Again, your mother slapped you when she first saw you, then hugged you. She was in tears, crying, thinking she lost you. You felt bad. You should have taken the threat more seriously. Your father only smiled at you. He knew you pulled through, especially after some of the stuff you and Applejack did as a kid. He knew you were tough. Applejack didn't come up to visit after you transferred. When you asked Miss Harshwhinny about it, she just humped and looked away while crossing her arms. You didn't know what that meant, but you figured you would visit her after you were released. You still needed to thank her for saving you. You honestly thought you were a goner. Octavia visited every once in a while. At first she was mad for being so stupid and getting yourself nearly killed, but she was glad that you were alive. Some nights she would play a personal concert for just you, and Harshwhinny, since she was always there. She even told you that she got together with Vinyl, grinning and holding onto your hand for the one bet. She smiled and said that she was paying the bet through the personal concerts.
Hmm.
While you were out, the company pitched in to help with the workload. They felt like they owed you since you would always take one for the team when the boss wasn't in a good mood. It was surprising to see them work the extra hours for your sake. Miss Harshwhinny even got to get everything done because of it. But instead of heading home, she was always heading straight to the hospital, making sure you were placed in one of the best private rooms available, which came with a shower installed in the bathroom. So she only ever went at home to grab a spare set of clothes. As for Miss Harshwhinny, you both talked about what you two meant for each other. After confessing your feelings, she confessed hers. She felt that she was too old for you and didn't want to scare you away, but you didn't care about that. To you, she was the most attractive mare you ever laid eyes on. You knew the real her, not the facade she puts up in public for sake of professionalism, but the one who likes to have fun, to be normal. Since she didn't need needles, as well as that terrible device for your nether region removed, she was able to sleep with you at night. She would always wrap herself around you so you couldn't escape. Her grip was still painful, but you wouldn't have it any other way. After the first night of confessing your feelings, the two of you explored each other's bodies. At first she was careful to not hurt you, but when she got into it, she couldn't control herself. This soon became part of your physical training. At first you would do most of the work, but as you got better, you became more attractive. You were glad the room was
Active.
mostly soundproof. Mostly. During one of your escapades, you remember accidentally hitting the call-nurse button, which led you to getting caught in an awkward position. Well, too bad that sex scene was short. Shit!
Heck, there might be an alternative story where that gets in more detail. Who knows? Who cares?
You spent another month there for real physical training. You still had to go back for it, but you were able to move around on your own. And with your girlfriend being your caretaker, you couldn't be any happier. Especially when you would convince her to either wear a nurse outfit or a maid one. She would probably get you back for this, but you will enjoy it while it lasts. You couldn't help but ravage her on the spot where she would tease you.
Hmm.
Your fur grew back, a lighter shade than your natural, but it was fine. To you, it looked like spots. Your tail was slowly going back as well. There wasn't much to it, but you were just happy there was something there. You were finally able to get back to work. Sort of. Miss Harshwhinny would bring home some work for you so you wouldn't be bored out of your mind during the day, as television and video games can only keep you occupied for so long. You missed traveling, but you knew that she would probably kill you if you attempt any strenuous work. Paperwork was always boring but very essential to the job, so you couldn't complain too much, especially when she convinced you to stop for the night for some fun. The equestrian games soon arrived, and both of you went to the event to watch over. At the start of it, you didn't think you would be able to be of any help in any way, but you go with her for moral support. She hasn't been feeling very well for the past few days. At first, you thought it was some food poisoning from the B-Star restaurant you two went to beforehand, but she told you it wasn't. She'd be fine. As long as she felt like she was okay, you wouldn't try to worry about it too much. She made her speech after the opening ceremony for the games over the speaker. It was the usual bit about how she welcomed each team from different parts of Equestria, and how they will be going for the gold and having fair matches. But what surprised you next was what she said after. She said, "I would like to thank every pony for such great support over the years. This will be my last year as the official inspector for the Equestria Games."
Well, well, it's because she's president, right? President of the company she's part of, so...
Everyone gasped at the announcement. They all knew for how long she had worked for the games. Even you were caught off guard. You didn't think anything could stop her. She continued. "Due to happy circumstances," she said, "I'll be taking my leave for the games and giving my position to the one stallion I trusted the most." Oh boy, she wasn't going to say you, was she? "The one who I call... Oh no. This is her revenge for making her wear all those embarrassing clothes. Nationwide announcement of all things. Fixer, the father of my child!" Oh, damn it, you know she was just going to use that nigga. Wait. Did she say what you think she did? You looked down from where you're seated, noticing the whole audience looking at you in shock and surprise, but none of that registered. You only saw her. She was smiling at you, the smile that grew to know and love, the mare you loved. With all your might, you run straight down and onto the stage, throwing her up in the air with excitement. She screams with how high you threw at her. Catching her and wrapping your arms around her, you both stare into each other's eyes before kissing. Ignoring the crowd's cheers, this was the happiest day of your life, and you wanted it to show it to the whole world.
I kind of imagine, like the music that dun 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 as he's running to her. I don't know.
Many things were about to change in your life. You knew she would require more free time. You highly doubt she would step down as president of the company, but you would work harder. You would make sure she could be a mother, and you would make sure you could be the best father you could be, no matter what it took. It looks like you would be her assistant for the rest of your life, and you couldn't be any happier. The end. Oh, author's note. Sorry it took so long. October was a bad month. Don't ever start it out. See any mistakes? Oh man, too many.
Too many mistakes.
There's a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I can see the mistakes too, especially when you kind of stumbled upon like for the first sentence.
Yeah, there was a lot of errors in this.
Yeah, I thought there was some errors too.
Yeah. But it was actually a good, decent read. Not much sex, to my dismay, but...
It was fun.
It was really good.
Especially when his not only the house that he grew up in, but wasn't it also his mother and father's house?
Pretty much.
Like were they trapped? Were they trapped in there too, or did they get out?
No. They went out to dinner.
Oh.
And you had a little time to yourself.
Oh. And was the ex-manager that...
I believe so. I bet that was it. I bet that was the ex-manager that pretty much got fired because of his recklessness and endangerment.
I just wonder who that ex-manager was.
it belonged to Filthy Rich, and it was the one that you had that the character pretty much gave a negative review because of the poor and improper safety regulations that were neglected.
Mm.
Yeah. So this is pretty much it. I think we can call this quits.
Yeah, it it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Same here. I might as well let you go.
All right.
I'm about to conclude this anyway. Later.
All right.